MartiniInTheMorning.com, Frank Sinatra. Nice work if you can get it. The best work is getting to play the greatest songs ever written online, around the clock, and around the world. And one of the most exciting things for us, we love to play Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, and Ella, and all the classic artists. But what's really exciting for us is getting to introduce the people that are out playing these songs. They're out doing it in the clubs, and they're doing shows, and introducing this music to, in many cases, a whole new generation. There's a whole group of young artists, and one of them that we're very excited to introduce you. And actually, I got introduced to him a few years ago, and didn't remember. This is a terrible thing to admit. Yeah, because my memory sucks. Lauren from our Fun and Games department. Lauren was out one night and saw this young guy, and she came back and she had, I think it was an EP. It wasn't a full CD. It was like a handful of songs, and it was this guy Dave Damiani, and she reminded me about it the other day, because I said, hey Lauren, because Lauren puts together part of the newsletter for us. So in our email newsletter, we were going to put an ad in, because he bought a sponsorship, and Lauren said, really, Dave Damiani? And I said, yeah. And she said, you don't remember, do you? She said, I brought you an EP like 5 years ago from Dave Damiani. And I said, you just wait. He's the real deal. And here he is. He's in our studio. We're going to talk to him in a few minutes and introduce you to his brand new album called Watch What Happens, which happened to have been produced by an old friend of ours, Lyman Medeiros, whom we've known for a long time. I've known Lyman probably 10 years. Lyman is his day job is as Steve Tyrell's bass player, and his little moonlighting, his little I'd say it's his labor of love, is producing Dave Damiani's album, and we're going to talk to both of them. Lyman Medeiros, also known as Big Funky. Oh yeah, I was going to say Big Ugly. Lyman Medeiros, also known as Big Funky, along with Dave Damiani, introduced the album Watch What Happens, which you can, and again, you can read about it, and also from the last edition of our email newsletter, Notes from a Cocktail Napkin. Not only do we have an article about Dave, but also there are links to a couple clips from the CBS TV show Vegas, and both Big Ugly? Big Funky. Big Nasty. Both Big Nasty and Dave were in the show. We'll talk about that, but you can actually watch a clip from MartiniInTheMorning.com. Watch What Happens, title track from Dave Damiani's new CD. Congratulations.
Thank you, Brad.
It's this is really exciting, because we've actually heard about this. Lyman mentioned it some time back that this was coming. So what's the process? What stage has been set to make all this happen for you?
Well, I've been playing around with a bunch of guys, doing some small group stuff, and then kind of came up with a lot of the ideas for how we wanted to do the songs. Him and I are playing in a small group. Some of them became big band arrangements, and some of them became small group arrangements, and we also kind of do a lot of events, corporate events and weddings. And
I saw a whole list you did the thing for the space shuttle when it came to LA. Yeah,
we do a lot of stuff for California Science Center.
Yeah.
And a lot of different big corporate accounts. And I started we were doing mostly Sinatra stuff, I had Sinatra arrangements, and I was taking the money when we had a good gig, when it paid really good, and having, arrangements written and orchestrated and kind of putting together our own product. That's been my goal for the last, 3 years.
You've got a big band that's actually pretty well known around town.
Yeah, the No Vacancy Orchestra.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. What a great name. And so you guys are out playing gigs and getting audience response. You kind of get a good sense of what people are enjoying.
Yeah, and then kind of wanting to do some songs in a different way. I mean, we talked about this earlier, but I kind of always liked not quoting songs. We do quote certain things from. The original idea for the CD was going to be called Familiar Lines, and we were going to take a line from a song, like maybe the bass line from Song for My Father, and do Happy Together, and then maybe the bass line from Willow Weep for Me, and do the Wynton Kelly version, and do Old Devil Moon, and we kind of strayed off of that. But the idea was to kind of make things familiar to people that might not know this music.
Right.
And a lot of big bands that I hear out around town, they do a lot of stuff that's so I don't want to name names, but you got to be like a PhD to get it.
Right,
and we're not trying to do that.
Right.
I mean, we the musicians love the music because it's well written and they're great charts, but it's accessible to everybody.
And you got, I mean, some top-notch musicians. I mean, aside from the bass player that you obviously had
shucks, thank you.
You had to watch the budget somewhere, you know.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying?
But you got like some of the best players in town on this project.
Yeah, we got some great, and you know, it's all like the younger generation of guys. You know.
Yeah. One of the things that you guys did on this album that I'm noticing, I don't know if it's a trend or anything, but it's something kind of cool, and a number of people have done similar things, and that's taking songs from another genre and bringing them into this big band kind of swing world. Is that like something that was really intentional? Did you set out to do that, or just some things just sort of fell into place?
I was working down the street, down here at Michelli's for about, you know.
I wasn't going to bring. That's where my friends Tom and Lauren saw you. They called me from Michelli's. They said, you got to see this guy.
Well, I used to be like a singing waiter there.
Right.
Yeah. Sinatra was a singing waiter.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. At the cabin.
In Jersey.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I don't remember.
I mean, I'm proud of it. I mean, it's tough to get a job there, even as a waiter. You know what I mean?
It's tough to get a job in L.A. I mean, let's face it. You know, everybody comes to L.A. to get discovered, and Michelli's. And I remember the first time we ever went into Michelli's, we were living up in the Central Valley of California, and came down for an event at Universal Studios. We went to Michelli's and had these, you know, a lot of really good singing waiters, and there are people that are trying to catch a break somewhere. You know?
There's people that have caught breaks. There's a guy who's in Vegas right now doing the Jersey Boys show, Graham Fenton, a good friend of mine. There's a woman, Roberta Wall, who just did Sister Act, and now she's doing another. I mean, there's people that have, you know, blown up from that place.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you were playing.
So I was playing there, and we would do, you know, songs and like, you know, and I would always like sit at the piano and try and figure out, and the piano player would always play Happy Together. He would always play that song. And
the old Turtles song.
The old Turtles song. Yeah, yeah. And then I started to think about the bass line, and I said, wow, what if we did it like a song for my father, or like a Ricky Don't Lose That Number type of thing? And then that's kind of how it started. I made a lead sheet, and then this arranger I was working with, I sent it off to him, and then he came back with orchestration of it, and that's kind of how the whole kind of concept started, with bringing in. That was the first song that I thought about doing like that.
Dave Damiani. The album is called Watch What Happens. Happy Together on MartiniInTheMorning.com. MartiniInTheMorning.com. The old Turtles song, Happy Together. But the way when you do that, you make it a whole new song. It's like it's not even the same song anymore.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right.
Dave Damiani on MartiniInTheMorning.com. The album's called Watch What Happens. No, but you know, it's interesting, and I started that out by talking about how some younger artists, some sort of young, maybe one of the more famous, an interesting thing along that line. Paul Anka a few years ago did an album called Rock Swings, where Paul's daughters grew up in the 80s, and he was very familiar with the rock and pop stuff in the 80s, and so he took a challenge to take some of those songs from the 80s and do them his way, kind of Vegas them up a little bit, and you know, and he did John Bon Jovi's "It's My Life," which is appropriate because, you know, there's that line in the song where he says, Frank said, "I did it my way." Well, Paul Anka wrote "My Way," right. But it's. So he did a really neat album that way, and a number of Tony Desir did Prince's Kiss. So there's kind of a thing going on, and it's really cool. And what you did with Happy Together by the Turtles, again, you didn't do the Turtles Happy Together. You did Dave Damiani's Happy Together.
The way I look at it is, me and Dave, we love jazz music, we love swing music, we love bebop, but the fact is we didn't grow up with that music.
Right.
I grew up listening to my mother, who was kind enough to join us in the studio today, used to play everything from Kiss to the Grease soundtrack to all this old, the Beatles, all this old rock and roll. And that's the music I was first introduced with when I was like, you know, a young, impressionable kid. And I fell in love with jazz and stuff later. So in a way, like, these old songs, which when I started working with Dave, you know, it was the same thing. He wanted,
you're
more pop songs.
You're gonna make some of us feel old when you keep talking about these old songs.
Sorry.
I played the Turtles Happy Together on the radio, so
I'll be more age sensitive.
No, don't bother, because it's turnabout's fair play, because I did to Mother Miriam. So anyway, go ahead.
So Dave loves all the classic rock stuff and those songs that we grew up with as well. But then we both, as I said earlier, we both love jazz and swing. So jazz music is the perfect kind of conduit for expressing that. Because like you said, we can take a Turtles song, we can take a Prince song like we did on the record, and personalize it in a way you really can't do with rock and roll music. Personalize it through I don't know if you want to say jazz swing filter, something that incorporates improvisation and phrasing and singing in your own certain style to make it, you know, a more personal cover, you know, for lack of a better word, for that kind of music.
Lyman Medeiros produced the album. Dave Damiani. It's one of the songs on the album. And again, this is the thing. If you went out and tried to cover this song, doing it like the artist did it originally, you would just be compared to that artist. Oh, he's copying the, you know. Instead, you take, just like you did with the Turtles song, you took it and you totally did something different with it. You made it your song, just like you did with this song, Prince's Raspberry Beret.
This is a fun one.
I love it. It's martiniinthemorning.com. The album is called Watch What Happens. Dave Damiani on martiniinthemorning.com. martiniinthemorning.com from the album. What's the album called?
Watch What Happens.
Watch What Happens. Dave Damiani and a really, really big band.
That's a big band.
That's so. Have you heard from Prince?
No, I'm waiting for that one.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for that one. Yeah.
Or the artist? Is he now the artist formerly known as Prince?
He's Prince again.
It's gonna be the artist formerly known as Bust My Balls when he hears that.
I don't know. He might like it.
It's but again, you took a song. I mean, the Prince's stuff is very unique. I mean, he is who he is, and he is that because of what he does. And you took one of his songs, and it's not him. It's something totally different. Right. It's yours.
I gotta give credit on this one to this guy Dave Richards, this amazing arranger who's a up and coming guy. If you don't know about him, you will. He went to University of North Texas. He's got his own big band, and he's a little out there. And I knew that if we were going to do something like this, I just kind of gave this one to him. I'm like, dude, we want to do Raspberry Beret. We want it to be cool, and he just kind of came up with this. Like, I didn't give him a bass line. We didn't give him anything. This was Dave, all Dave.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
There's a couple of those big band arrangements where, you know, I had a concept. This one was no concept. So Dave, this is all Dave Richards.
Yeah, and it's a very challenging piece to play.
Yeah.
And so credit goes to Dave Damiani here for being able to sing it and making it recognizable and being able to make it a personal interpretation as well.
Are these songs going to be hard to do out in public?
No. I mean, this one is a little... I mean,
that's pretty complicated.
This one's a little hard if we don't have a rehearsal, because we do a lot of events. The band plays a lot. This one's been a challenge because sometimes I'm pulling in guys that haven't maybe played the song in a while.
Right.
But we're doing, for the Catalina show, we're doing a full rehearsal.
Yeah.
There's a 2/4 bar in the opening of this, which kind of throws me off. And it's also written in cut time. So it's a little bit tricky for... You know, but once we get it down, once we rehearse it a couple times, it's going to kill. It's going to be kill.
Dude, besides your starting out as a singing waiter at Michelli, and by the way, if you're not in Southern California, I'll tell you that Michelli's is a fun place, and the whole singing waiter concept, it's right across from Universal Studios, so very touristy.
Yeah, very touristy.
Very much.
But before your singing waiter career, what led you to all of this?
I was not a musician. I came out here to be a film writer, and I went to Temple University in Philadelphia, and I came out here, and I had no success at all in the film business, and had a nervous breakdown, basically. And for my 25th birthday, my friends took me to Michelli's on Las Palmas, the original.
The original one in Hollywood.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I saw this guy who just passed away, Charlie Sharenza, great guitar player, played with the... Baja Marimba Band and Herb Alpert, and I fell in love with this music. I really was not into music, and I wanted to work there so bad that I begged him to let me bus tables so I could sing. And I sang like one song. I knew Beyond the Sea was the first song I knew. And then just from hanging out there, I met all these guys in town.
Yeah.
Wound up getting a job bartending at Charlie O's. Remember Charlie O's Jazz Club?
Yeah, big jazz club for a long time.
Yeah. And con Charlie into giving me Sunday nights to sing my 4 songs that I knew at that point. And I would hire horn players to come in. Yeah. Stacy Rolls, Carl Saunders, Charles Owens. I worked with Marty Harris on piano. I worked with Adrian Rosen, a drummer named Lorca Hart, Nick Martinez. I met all these guys and all these great musicians and got a schooling basically there. And then everybody was like, you need to go to school, man. So I went back to school, got my associate's degree at LA Valley College in music. I already had a degree, a bachelor's degree, and then went back to Cal State LA and got my master's in music.
Wow.
Commercial
Oh,
music.
I had no idea.
And let me tell you, that's what makes Dave such a special and unique artist. Probably because he came to music so late. A lot of us, myself included, musicians, we kind of like when we have to do a wedding or a corporate event, we're doing it because the work's good, not necessarily because we like it. Because you play these corporate events and people are out, like Tyrell always says, people are out in the audience trying to sell real estate. They're not really there to pay attention to the band.
We've had that conversation before.
I'm sure. That line's familiar, right?
Yes, it is.
But Dave takes every performance seriously. He loves performing for weddings, for corporate events, for private parties, whatever. It's all on par with any concert we're going to give, and he works really hard at it. Works really hard at any performing opportunities he can get, and takes them all very seriously. And
So music is your life.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is my life, and I guess for the last year and a half, 2 years, I haven't had to work at Michelli's. I've been just basically doing gigs, and I want to talk about this guy real fast because I met him in 2005 or 6 when we recorded the EP.
Most people won't admit knowing Lyman. It's
Well, I mean, I know
guilt by association.
I know he was a cool guy, right?
Yeah.
But then, we didn't really hang out much, and then when I was starting to put this together, I bumped into him at a jam session, and man, we hit it off.
Yeah.
And his arranging ability and his musicianship and his just what he brings. First off, there's nobody that plays bass like him.
Right.
That
Absolutely.
brings it.
Yeah.
That brings it. and loves it. And I'm so fortunate to have him. When he told me that he wanted to be part of this project, I was so elated. It was the missing piece, and he just raised everything up to the level that here we are.
Aww.
Dave Damiani, Lyman Medeiros' mother Miriam has been monitoring the Martini in the Morning chat lounge. And do you have a question?
Well, they wanted to know a couple things. They want to know when you started playing music.
When I started playing music, I'd say it was around 1998.
Well, how old were you? Don't let them
I was
count.
About 20.
In other words, they're asking how old you are.
Oh, how old am I?
Well, no,
I am 39 years old, and I started playing music when I was about 27.
And they want to know, do you play any instruments, or do you just sing?
Play piano.
You do?
Yeah, I
Wow.
I play good enough piano to kind of accompany myself in a
Cool.
group situation, and I've done some events where I have to play solo, but I'm not the type of guy that I don't get called for sideman for a lot of jobs, but I play for myself.
And they want to know, Lyman, how's your little boy?
My little boy, awesome. Yeah, Milo is 6 years old.
That's so hard to believe.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, I remember. When you were anticipating Milo.
Yeah. I had to take a
yesterday.
week off at Catalina's with
That's right, you
Steve
did, you
because
did.
Milo was born.
Yeah.
He's very happy right now because his grandma's in town and he's on spring break and she's been spoiling him rotten, as if he wasn't already rotten. But yeah, Milo's
that's so
great.
cute.
And thank you, whoever asked.
Another cool thing is that my daughter Mia is 7, and his son became
Yeah,
Great
they're
friends.
Really
great friends. Yeah.
You don't look that. You look like you're 19
I am actually 19.
in your heart.
He's
you and
lying.
Brad, yeah.
He's lying about his age to gain credibility.
Okay.
MartiniInTheMorning.com. Dave Damiani. The album is called Watch What Happens, and he's old-fashioned. It's MartiniInTheMorning.com.
That's how I'm gonna be, so just agree to stay old-fashioned with me.
MartiniInTheMorning.com. Nothing old-fashioned about Dave Damiani. The album is called Watch What Happens. You guys did some interesting things with this album, and we were talking about before we went on the air, where you took well-known songs and that are in the genre. I mean, first of all, to take a song like Prince's Raspberry Beret or the Turtles' Happy Together and jazz them up, that's really cool and risky. But then to take a song that is of this genre and do it completely like a whacked version of it, that's really, because there are people who love this. Listen, we deal every day with purists who, they don't like us playing the Frank Sinatra duets because he wasn't maybe in his best voice, and they don't like Bono or whatever. But we deal every day with people who think that it should be the way it always was. And the problem was the way that the genre was going back into the if you look into the late 80s, early 90s, the music was kind of fading off the charts. I tell people every day that when we started looking into this format in the late 90s, right around 2000, there had been up to about 1,000 radio stations in the U.S. playing some form of jazz standards like this. They're now between 250 and 300, and there's a reason for that, and that's because radio stations that took some chances and took some risks and tried to play some maybe cooler, hipper stuff like what you're doing, got chastised by some of the older audience, and sooner or later, that's all they had left. And there's nothing wrong. Somebody gave me a bad time the other day. Our buddy Larry in Loveland, Colorado. He said, "Yeah, you got to be nice to your aging audience." and I got news for you, Larry. I'm part of the aging audience. But at the same time, we've got to broaden our horizons a little bit and make them and make the music appealing for people your age and your age and your age. And there's a very broad audience that loves this music. It has nothing to do with age. And if you stay still, it dies. It dies.
Exactly.
I follow politics, and if you look at I'm not going to get into the whole political thing, but if you look at if you look at the Republican Party, and you see that they need to open up maybe they need to open up their base a little bit to get some more people in. It's the music's the same thing. You got to open it up a little bit to everybody, because the world's changing.
So the song that really stood out to me, where you guys really took a song that is of this genre, and you went out on I don't mean on a limb necessarily, but where you said, okay, we're going to do something different with this song. That song is song that so many people have done, from Jack Jones to Frank Sinatra, Mel Torme, Cleo Lane did a great version of it. It's Angel Eyes, Dave Damiani style, on martiniinthemorning.com. Check this out. martiniinthemorning.com. Very, very different arrangement of Angel Eyes. So who comes up with ideas like that?
Well, that one kind of features this multi-instrumentalist who plays with Dave's band named Mike Bulger. He plays trumpet and organ and accordion. Am I missing anything, Dave?
No, this guy's ridiculous. Oh, he plays mellophone.
He plays everything.
Tuba.
It's like a gypsy feel to it.
Right. Well, there's this whole kind of, for lack of a better word, underground genre called pop noir. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Mike plays in this really great LA band named the Leftover Cuties, who Dave books quite a bit.
Leftover Cuties.
They're awesome. They're such a great band. All original music. I'll lay a CD on you.
But the singer sings kind of like Billie Holiday, and it's very much in the style of the classic style, old standards. A little loungy, but nothing too kitschy or anything. So Dave and Mike kind of came up with this arrangement where Mike plays the accordion, and I came in and arranged the bass line, and that was pretty much that. I think Dave was kind of going for that pop noir kind of sound.
I always like that habanera bass line, from Carmen, from Carmen.
Yeah,
and Mike and I were like kind of friends for a long time. Like he's one of the first guys I met out here, and he's an amazing musician, just amazing.
Dave Damiani and Lyman Medeiros on martiniinthemorning.com. Dave Damiani's new CD is called Watch What Happens, and it's on Martini. And can we keep you guys for a few minutes over? Do you mind?
Yeah,
perfect.
We're going to talk about the CD release party coming up at Catalina Jazz Club. All right, so the ladies in the Martini in the Morning chat lounge will want to know, have you?
Have I I'm married.
There you go.
I'm married for 10 years now.
That answers the question.
For 10 years. Yeah.
I've never been in love before. It's Dave Damiani. The album is called Watch What Happens. It's on martiniinthemorning.com. You and Steve and the band, your day job, you guys are headed up to Folsom, California, near Sacramento.
That's right.
For a show tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night in Folsom, Friday night in Carmel, and Saturday night in Napa, and we're going to be joined by the fantastic Diane Shure.
Yeah.
Wow. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait. It's going to be such an honor.
I want to stand corrected, because I've been saying all day, I thought you guys were in Carmel tonight, so we unfortunately I steered some of my home I can't even say home boys. This Carmel is home, and I am definitely not hip enough to use an expression. I'm not even sure if that expression's hip anymore.
I think you can still use homeboy.
Homeboy, okay.
Yeah.
Dave Damiani. The CD is called Watch What Happens. 10 o'clock in the West. It's martiniinthemorning.com. So you took I mean, obviously some great American Songbook tunes like "I've Never Been in Love Before," and you did them your own way. But also, we've talked about, you did Prince's "Raspberry Beret," and you did the Turtles' "Happy Together." This next song it was an interesting song. What made you choose the Squeeze's "Tempted"?
Always loved this tune.
Yeah.
Even from like when I was a kid, I remember like just loving this tune.
You were a kid when this song came out.
I was like 7 years old. The Philadelphia Phillies were world champs.
Dave. On that note, Dave Damiani and "Tempted" from his album What Happens on MartiniInTheMorning.com.
I'm tempted, but the truth is discovered.
From his album What Happens, Dave Damiani, the old Squeeze song "Tempted." How many, just listening to this, how many individual musicians picked up an instrument, showed up in a studio, and played on this album?
That's a great question.
Well, we had 17
Sounded like
players.
about 10,000.
We had 17 players in the big band, and then we brought in a different drummer to play on some of the small group tracks. Chris Wabich, that's 18. Ricky Woodard did a track, 19.
John Campbell did a
John
track.
Campbell did a track, 20. Who else was there?
Barry's on both.
Bolger did a track, 21. 21.
Yeah,
So
John 21.
keeping musicians employed in Southern California, Dave Damiani.
That's right.
People do know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because you guys go out and play, I mean, you do a lot of gigs
We do a lot of gigs.
around Southern California. Do you travel?
Yeah, we do some traveling. We're
Hopefully
doing
more.
Yeah, hopefully more. But we go out to Vegas once in a while, and up to San Francisco and down to southern, a little further down. But we've done a couple shows. We went to New York last year. We did a show. We did a show in Toronto.
Hey, speaking of Vegas, how did the TV show thing come along?
One of this drummer from the Leftover Cuties, Stuart Johnson, who's
Yeah.
a great friend of mine,
Yeah,
ours, came to the show we did at Typhoon on December 10th.
Santa
With the
Monica
big band,
Airport.
Yeah, exactly.
Santa Monica Airport, and he heard the band,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just total freak thing, and he loved it. And the next morning, he got a call from John Houlihan, the music supervisor from Vegas, and he goes, "Man, I'm looking for someone to do like a Louis Prima or like a Dean Martin." He goes, "You got to call this guy. I just saw his big band last night. It was just ridiculous." And he called me, and it just happened. It was so random.
Really?
It was, yeah.
It really was.
Vegas, the television show.
And you had to shave your beard off.
I had
for
to
it.
shave my beard down to a mustache. My wife hated it so
I
much.
loved it.
She wouldn't kiss me for a week.
I could think of lots more reasons than that. But Dave Damiani, Lyman Medeiros. The album's called Watch What Happens. I'm trying to think what we haven't played from the album that we should. What haven't we played? Oh, you know what we should play? And this is a really and to be honest with you, and I will confess, as I've done many times. In fact, Steve Tyrell and I were joking around a while back because he said that he had found some songs listening to our radio station, and I said, that's really funny because a lot of what I learned about this music, I went to the school of Steve.
Right.
Because he's spent so much time around so many of the writers and so on. He's learned a lot about this music. But like Steve, my background was not in this, like you. This was not my background. I'm still learning this music. We've been doing it for 10, the old radio station went on the air in 2002, and we'd worked on it for about a year before that. And I mean, I'm still learning this music, but one of the songs on your album, I only knew the Chet Baker version. And this morning I was telling Mother Miriam about it. She said, "Are you kidding me?" Because she dated all these guys.
Mother Miriam.
She was.
That's what they call me on the
She was.
Wow.
Yeah, some of the old jazz clubs. If you look really closely on the bathroom wall, you'll find a phone number there. If you don't know how to get a hold of Mother Miriam.
I know which bathrooms I'm going to. Right after this.
But anyway,
why don't you tell them why I was there?
what's that?
Why don't you tell them why
Pull
I
up
was
some-
there?
Why don't I tell them what?
Why don't you tell why I was at these jazz clubs?
Why were you there?
Why don't you tell them?
I have no
Oh, no,
idea.
you go ahead.
No, I don't know.
No, why don't you tell them that I used to sing, and very well.
Oh, here we go.
Nice.
You don't want to tell them that, do
I
you?
believe
Because
you.
you don't want me to overshine
I want to
you.
hear. When are we going to jam? Let's jam.
One day, you'll see.
See, we should never let her out of her cage.
One day.
Anyway, so Mother Miriam gives me this list of all the people who cut this song. And
Which
that's,
song?
Which song? Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. I lost it. I had it ready to go. I was. Oh yeah, here we go. You were talking about all those smooth segues.
This is go
ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, this is Tyrell's favorite.
Yeah.
Really?
He listened to the record. Lyman got him, and he gave us a
everything out
nice
of me is his
quote.
favorite.
I would say that this would have to be one of my favorite cuts on the album too. And again, part of it, I love the Chet Baker version. And like I said until this morning, Mother Miriam said, "Are you kidding?" Like Nat King Cole did it, and Frank Sinatra did it, and so does Dave Damiani on MartiniInTheMorning.com. MartiniInTheMorning.com. Everything Happens to Me. I love that song. And you know who wrote that?
Matt Dennis.
Yeah, and
Was it Earl Brent?
no, it's the same two guys that wrote Angel Eyes, I think.
Matt Dennis and
It's
on the back of the
Tom
CD.
Adair. Tom Adair. Where's your CD? Hey, Mother Miriam, bring me one of his CDs, please.
We got to give a shout out to Barry Zwag, who made Guitar Magic on that track.
That was beautiful.
He sounds great.
Just beautiful. Sounds
Barry,
like
the senior member of our band.
Barry's the only geezer on the band.
Yeah, he called self-described.
Self-described
why is
geezer.
he a geezer?
He's it was a joke because I've been hiring like all these young guys and, and Barry's like in his 70s. And he's like because we call the band we call the band the Jazzadelics, and when Barry's in the band, the small group, he goes, well, "Are we the Geezerdelics tonight?"
Oh wait, Earl Brent wrote Angel Eyes with Matt Dennis, and Matt Dennis wrote Everything Happens to Me with Tom Adair. Yeah,
there you go.
But Matt Dennis is a common thread in that. I knew that there was a connection between those two songs, and I only laughed when you said that he was in the 70s because Mother Miriam on June 24th she'll celebrate her 75th birthday.
June 24th.
Wow, you look great, Mother Miriam. I can't believe you're going to.
It's my anniversary. June 24th. Yeah.
And we're going to give her a big gift. We're working toward 10,000 likes on Facebook because we don't have a marketing budget. So so Facebook is the more likes you have on Facebook, the more people you're reaching when you do a post. Like just now, we posted you guys,
exactly.
And so we want to get to the point where we got 10,000 people, and that's our gift to Mother Miriam. We're going to get to 10,000 likes and what's that? What?
You'll wrap it so I'll have a box to open.
And it'll keep you warm at night.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of age, when I came on to produce this record, I had all these grand designs of hiring all the best studio guys I knew, all the greatest players I knew. But Dave said, no, I want to use the guys who've been working with me. Like he said, he's been hiring younger guys for years, kids still in college and stuff. He's like, no, I want to hire.
Break.
Yeah. And he wanted to hire the guys who had worked for him, who had been loyal to him, and it ended up being the best idea because
it
really paid off. We kind of filled, now don't get me wrong, we filled out the band with some really great established players. Andy Langham plays piano, who plays with Poncho Sanchez, and Barry, of course, who played with Natalie Cole and was on the Dinah Shore Show for years. We got a lot of, and of course Ricky Woodard. We got a lot of fantastic established musicians, but most of the band is made up of these younger guys who've been working with Dave for years, and they just really brought a really great impassioned performance to the recording.
And are those the guys that we're going to see at your CD release party at Catalina's?
You are going to see
next Wednesday, right?
Except for the drummer, Griffin Wright won't be there because he's got some Boy Scout meeting or something. I don't know what the hell is going on. But.
And the only guy we could get to fill in is Kevin Winnard.
Oh, really?
The drummer who listeners might be familiar with from Steve Tyrell.
Well, he was just in here 2 or 3 weeks ago with his new album.
Yes, he was.
So it's not like we're downgrading, but I was adamant about having guys who put the time in and put the work in be on the record. I didn't think it was right to just bring in all these studio cats and not give these other guys a chance. We had a bunch of rehearsals, and I fought for it, and it paid off.
It definitely paid off.
Loyalty is a rare quality in this town.
So they'll be joining us.
Commended.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they'll be joining us next Wednesday, April 3rd at Catalina Bar to Grill for our big CD release party, which we are so excited about.
I talked to Catalina and Manny last night, as a matter of fact, and they're both very excited about the show next week.
Good.
I'm looking forward to that.
Manny's excited about it? That's good.
Manny doesn't get excited about much of anything.
I know, exactly.
I know.
If you've ever been to Catalina, you know what we're talking about. Manny is the coolest cucumber around. He has to be because people are fighting. No, I want to sit up there. No, I want to sit.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
those guys have been great to me at Catalina. I mean, what a great establishment, and thank them so much for just being so easy to work with. They're really great.
And Catalina has done so much to keep jazz alive in Hollywood. It is not an easy genre to make money
at
on.
all.
Mother Miriam is chomping at the bit
No,
to.
I just wanted to ask him, you really are a musician's musician. There's no question about that after listening to you. But what I wanted to know, because I saw over here,
Yeah.
you not only have a CD, but you also have it on vinyl.
Yeah,
which is now,
bring it over.
Yes,
Yeah,
let's show the use
which
stream.
is fabulous, because I remember
You
all
talked
we
about
had
it.
was vinyl. And it's
Well,
beautiful.
what about those old stone tablets that you used to?
No, I threw them. I came to Big M.
we did 500 limited pressings. We changed the packaging slightly.
That's great.
And we put all the big band tracks pretty much on here, and it's called Dave Damiani and the No Vacancy Orchestra. And each record is numbered.
Wow.
Side 1
500.
and side 2.
Side one, side one and side two.
Like they used to
No,
have.
it's like a
All the
numbered.
way to 1,000.
No, Mother Miriam, it's like a numbered release, like a painting where you number the
Oh,
artist.
you mean it's not a real? It's not a real.
It's a real.
It's a
Oy
real,
vey.
Well, we're only making 500 records, so I'm numbering the records.
like a limited edition.
Limited edition.
Okay, but
Zero-
wait a minute. Time out with the laughing, because you're going to get it later. I mean, you know, when they made albums, there was a side 1
Yeah,
and a side 2.
We have
Guess
that
what?
too. We have that too.
So that's what I asked you, and stop laughing.
Let's call it side A and side B, so there's no confusion with the numbering.
Mother Miriam,
What?
you're not really a blonde. So stop it.
You know something? I'm still going to ask him. So
No,
people, what do I do to get the CD? Because some people
The album.
love vinyl.
The album,
They
you're
like
going to
the
go to hardknocksrecords.com. It just sounds just like it's spelled hardknocksrecords.com. You can order it. They're also available in Amoeba Records in San Francisco and in Los Angeles. And
Can they actually go into a store and buy a
you
hard
can
copy?
actually
Amoeba-
starting on April 3rd, you'll actually be able to go into Amoeba and buy these records.
Do you know where
That's
Amoeba
right.
is?
No, I have no
It's
idea.
in Hollywood, at Cahuenga and.
Cahuenga and Sunset.
But the best place to buy it would be at the Hard Knocks Records website.
Because you don't have to give up any of the money to
That's
Amoeba.
right. That's right.
Oh, okay.
And there's only 500, so get your orders in.
They're all
That's
numbered.
very cool.
They're all
1
numbered.
through
Well, I
500.
understood-
Side 1, side 2.
Maybe you'll explain to me why everyone laughed when I said side 1 and side 2. I still don't understand, because yesterday we were at Al the Engineer, and he has a zillion CDs, and we
And
were looking
albums.
at the old albums, and it was side 1, side 2. So I said side 1, and why are you laughing?
No, you
Why? I want to know why you're laughing now that you've
let
made
me
a
show you.
fool of
Let me show
me
you the number. See?
around the world.
It's numbered here.
Yeah.
Because it's a
Yeah.
limited edition, so everybody's going to get their own personal numbered vinyl.
But
I have
that
number
has nothing to
498.
do with what I
But
said.
here.
No,
I'll take
exactly.
that. But
What
to
you
Mo-
said had nothing to do
to
with what
Mother
we were talking
Miriam's
about. either.
point,
Do you
there's
have
side
side
1, and there's side 2.
Right.
Exactly.
Is there music on both sides?
Yes,
Yes.
Of course
both
there
sides.
is.
Indeed,
Why
there's
was it
music.
funny? You know, you're an ass. I said that before, and I'll say it again on the air.
MartiniInTheMorning.com. We've totally lost control. All right,
Indeed.
we got time for one more song before these guys have to go rehearse. Actually, before Lyman picks up
Milo.
These are also
picks up the boss.
These are also available at the CD release party April 3rd at Catalina
Catalina
Jazz
Bronco,
Club.
8 p.m.
Terrific album, and again, very cool that you're doing a vinyl. I mean, vinyl is really hot, and you know, and here's the thing that a lot of people miss. You know, and I was all excited when we got CDs and excited when we started putting stuff on the computer hard drives. But I'll tell you what, you sit down and listen to a well-produced album with a needle and a tone arm on vinyl, and what a difference. I mean, it's
Total
warmer. It's I don't know, there's something very cool.
I gotta give a shout out. I should have done this earlier, to the greatest engineer in the world, Bill Smith, who worked with Al Schmitt for years, engineered and recorded and mixed this record, and also to Bill, thank you so much. Wouldn't have been possible.
Yes, Bill Smith.
And Bernie Grumman, who did the mastering, one of the best around, and mastered it specifically for CD and then remastered it for vinyl. So it's a totally different product.
You mentioned Al Schmitt, and it's funny, some people will know, some people won't. If you read your liner notes, go look at your Frank Sinatra albums, go look at Nat King Cole albums, go look at Bobby Darin albums.
Almost all of them.
Yeah, and you'll see Al Schmitt there. So, you know, anyone who's come up under Al Schmitt, you know that they know their stuff.
Right.
That's good. That's good news. Dave Damiani, the album is called Watch What Happens. I'm trying to think what we didn't play. if there's something you guys
maybe On the Street Where You Live, which was the track that was on Vegas.
Yeah, On the Street Where You Live. We took this arrangement and did a really cool
take on it.
Take on it. Yeah. Poinciana, based on the Poinciana.
Ahmad Jamal
groove. Yeah.
It's Dave Damiani, Lyman Medeiros, the album again, Watch What Happens. And next Wednesday, if you're in Southern California, join us at Catalina's Jazz Club in Hollywood.
It's gonna be a great time.
For a lot of fun. The CD release party. Dave Damiani on martiniinthemorning.com, On the Street Where You Live.